They are supposed to be opportunities set aside by the Veterans Administration for small businesses that are owned by disabled vets. But an ABC Action News I-Team investigation is uncovering questions about whether a large construction project at the Bay Pines VA hospital went to a company with ties to a large national construction company, and whether it's an example of a much bigger problem. I-Team Chief Investigator Alan Cohn is asking questions and getting answers tonight.
These are not good times in the construction industry. But this federally funded project at the Bay Pines VA hospital, the new $8.4 million eye treatment and surgery center, is one example of where the money is.
The only game in town right now is the federal government.
When Craig Gallagher learned the VA was putting out bids for the project at Bay Pines, he jumped. After all, the solicitation clearly said the project was restricted to service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. And Gallagher, a wounded Army veteran, is now president of a construction company aptly named the Service-Disabled Veteran-Owned Small Business Group. But Gallagher's company didn't get the job.
Extremely disheartening. As a disabled vet, there's a program in place. You think it's there to give you a helping hand.
Instead, the project was awarded to Stryker Construction Services, a company formed by executives from Sarasota-based Dooley Mack Constructors, a large company with offices from Sarasota to New York.
You think it stinks?
I think it's terrible.
Does this happen all the time?
Lots of times. It has happened to me a bunch of times.
Raul Espinosa claims he lost so many federal projects that were supposed to go to small businesses like his, he has become an activist.
Every year, about $70 billion are given to large businesses that should never gotten those contracts.
Last May, the Government Accountability Office blamed an online system allowing companies to simply click a box certifying they are what they say they are. The GAO says there's a lack of validation of information provided by firms used to substantiate their eligibility. Al Kratchman is a government contract attorney in Washington.
Many companies have taken the risk, and they have decided, I don't think there's a likelihood that I will be protested.
In the case of Stryker Construction Services, which won the Bay Pines contract, its managing partner is James Vendola, a veteran who, records show, worked for Dooley Mack for over 20 years. In fact, when we went to Stryker's St. Petersburg office looking for Mr. Vendola, this is what we were told.
Who is Mr. Vendola with these days?
He's with Dooley Mack Constructors.
Okay.
Their corporate office, Lakewood Ranch Boulevard.
That's right, Stryker moved its offices inside Dooley Mack's Sarasota headquarters. Neither James Vendola or anyone at Dooley Mack would talk to us on camera. Neither would the VA, which tells us Stryker was properly registered as a small disabled veteran-owned business.
Our assessment of what was allowable was incorrect.
Even though one of the company's former executives acknowledges Stryker subsequently realized it wasn't as independent from Dooley Mack as it should have been. James Jackson blames the government.
There wasn't enough clear guidance from the government in terms of the specifics of what could and could not be done in a relationship between the two companies.
The Bay Pines project continues to move along, but the whole bidding process of VA set-asides has soured Craig Gallagher. He is simply giving up on bidding for them in the future.
And extremely discouraging. And then finally, you just kind of throw your hands in the air and say, okay.
Jackson maintains he and his partners were not trying to get around government eligibility rules. But in an effort to get it right, he and another former Dooley Mack executive have formed a third company, which he says has no financial ties whatsoever to Dooley Mack. Alan Cohn, ABC Action News.
A new law called the Jobs Act of 2010 is supposed to provide more oversight and tougher sanctions for companies when it comes to violating the certification process. But the Small Business Administration is still in the process of coming up with procedures. Don't forget, if you have a problem or a story idea you would like our I-Team to look into, just send us an email to iteam@abcactionnews.com.